Hi, I wanted to let you know that I have a brand new, totally free masterclass available, and I'd love if you wanted to check it out. It's about an hour long, and it goes over 3 simple things that every dog owner needs to know in order to teach a dog quickly and easily without pain, force, a major time investment, or fancy equipment. When you register, you'll also get a free 20-page ebook all about what I call the dog training triad. You can find it at anniegrossman.com/masterclass.
And now for something completely different.
Hi, my name is Annie Grossman, and I'm a dog trainer. This podcast is brought to you by School for the Dogs, a Manhattan-based facility I own and operate along with some of the city's finest dog trainers. During this podcast, we'll be answering your questions, geeking out on animal behavior, discussing pet trends, and interviewing industry experts. Welcome to School for the Dogs podcast.
My name's Liz Zarro, and I'm a product designer and developer at Ruffwear in Bend, Oregon. Ruffwear is an outdoor dog gear company. We basically design and develop the items that you would need to take your dog out on adventures with you and enable those outdoor pursuits. So things like dog boots, harnesses, backpacks. We kind of specialize in that area.
And you studied in Bend, which, right, isn't Ruffwear in Bend? Am I right?
Yes, Ruffwear is in Bend.
And did when you were going to school there in Oregon, then was Ruffwear kind of a spot that you thought, wow, that would be a great place to work as a dog lover and designer?
Yes, I did. Yeah. While I was in college, actually, I sent an email to Ruffwear to see if they needed an intern or any extra help on their design team. And at that time, I got an email back that was basically saying that at this time, we don't really need any help in that area. But fast forward a few years after I had graduated and I was working as a freelancer, Ruffwear came back and they did need a little extra help. And so I was able to freelance with their team before I was offered a full-time job. And being able to move to Bend and join the team to make great performance dog gear, that was definitely like a dream come true.
Ruffwear as a brand, it sells at REI. Do you think that's how a lot of people discover it?
I do. I think that who I would consider our sort of core base, so outdoorists and dog lovers, that sort of cross section, to me, that's a total REI customer. And for those people shopping at REI for other things and then seeing Ruffwear, I think that is a big way that we become known.
It's interesting because it's REI doesn't carry a whole lot of pet gear. So it's like the gear that they do carry, I guess, seems like it would have some kind of great stamp of approval on it. Because, like I was saying, you guys have huge fans. We carry at my online store for the dogs. We carry a lot of different brands, and I don't think any specific brand has as big of a fan group. Have you experienced the Ruffwear fandom?
I kind of have. And I know that there is a Facebook group. I'm not super knowledgeable about those aspects, but I do know there's a Facebook group called Ruffwear Addicts, and that they're on top of it, man. Like they know about launches and they know about new products, and it's pretty cool to see what resonates and what doesn't with that group, because they're a loud voice. And yeah, and we're listening.
So I'd love if you could tell me a little bit about the Home Trail Hip Pack, which I know is a product that you helped design. From what I understand, it was like Ruffwear's attempt to kind of like combine two other products of yours. Is that right? The treat trader and the stash bag. Maybe you can explain what those two products are actually.
What the stash bag is, a leash bag for pickup bags or small items that you need on walks, while the treat trader is a treat specific pouch for training. The Home Trail Hip Pack was basically taking those two items, distilling them down, and compiling it into this one grab and go piece that you can just snatch up on your way out on a walk, and you know that it's got treats in it. It's got space for your phone, easy access for your keys, just all of those sort of steps well laid out in that product.
What inspired you to put this together?
So what's funny is that's actually a very personal product for me. I have always liked using a hip pack for the adventures I go on with my dog, because being a gal, my pockets are not very large usually, if I have them. A lot of my outdoor clothes may not have pockets. So like if I'm wearing leggings, for example, there may not be pockets in those. And I just find myself constantly juggling cell phone, keys, treats, pickup bags. And so I really I was over it. I was over the juggle, and I really just wanted to have one place where I could easily access and store all of the major things that I need to have a successful outing with my dog. And I felt like if I could design it for that process, which is a process that many people go through, then hopefully it would resonate. And that's sort of how it starts. And then we go into greater field testing and introducing it to a lot of testers and a lot of users prior to it going to market, so we can make adjustments based on a greater audience. But that's where a lot of the inspiration came from, was me and my dog, Bernie.
Tell me about Bernie. How did he come into your life? What kind of dog is he?
He's a great dog. He is a res dog. He came from the Warm Springs Reservation here in Central Oregon, and he's a mixed bag, but a very handsome boy. He's about 75 pounds and mostly brown with a black muzzle. I got him as a puppy, and he was at the shelter with his mom and two other litter mates. And he has had he's had a couple hardships. Just after I got him, it became pretty apparent that he had pretty severe separation anxiety. And being a new dog owner to a puppy, I felt like I was trying to do it on my own and, watch YouTube videos and try to figure it out. And I realized in that process that there's a time when you should call a professional, and you should really just get some one-on-one help to make sure you're setting your pup up for a life of success. And so I ended up working one-on-one with a behaviorist with him as a puppy to get him to become more confident and more independent, and to feel comfortable on his own when leaving him at the house. And it was a process, and he's great now. Like he stays home often. He goes on walks. He can heel. He can sort of do all the good stuff. But yeah, he's my bud.
Aw. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you got some training help. And if you have any questions I can help you with in the future, let me know. But it's interesting that it's you make products that are both for dogs and humans, and I would think that both dog and human behavior is part of the development of the products you make. And what you were dealing with was a behavior issue. Did it spark ideas for you for products?
Yes, absolutely. So when I was working with Bernie, he's now he's almost 5. But when I was working with him and the behaviorist, that was when I realized there wasn't a treat pouch that I liked on the market, and it was really the beginning of the treat trader, which is a product that we sell. Um,
Oh, so
and
you were you the designer who developed that?
yes,
Yeah, so tell me about that trader. And that one also, the treat trader also, that interlocks in a way with the home trail hip pouch, right?
yeah, it totally does. So the treat trader was a really fun project. When I was designing that, I would walk my dog to and from my house and the office where he would also work with me. But it's about a 2-mile walk each way, which was great for him as a puppy and great for me to practice training with the treat trader and working on our relationship that way. And like you said, some of these are products for people and dogs. And I think that's important to recognize because we're asking these critters to come and hang out with us in our world. And it's a lot of responsibility for the person. And with the treat trader, I really wanted to make that product accessible, comfortable, minimal, and I wanted it to be something that people wanted to use and wanted to have on their body because hopefully that would promote better training. But yeah, so that whole process took place between he and I, and the treat trader is a product that can also interlock onto the home trail hip pack. So there are 2 gear loops on the side of the home trail hip pack, and you can slide the belt clip onto those loops, which I like to do. You could also take the treat trader and use the belt clip on the waistband of the home trail hip pack. And what I have recommended that sort of application for is if you've got 2 different types of treats you're using. So if you have a very high value and then sort of your biscuit or crunchy treat that you've got more volume of, you could separate those 2 and know where your treat values are in that way. The other thing about the treat trader that's nice is when you open and close it, you could do it with one hand. It's got a magnet, and it creates a very solid snap noise when the magnet is pressed up against the metal form in the bag. It creates this snap, and that I found to be a very positive audible cue for dogs when you're using the product. This would be after it wouldn't be the same as a clicker. It would be after they've already done something that you wanted to reward them. But it's one more thing that just sort of reinforces that good behavior, whatever it is that you might be rewarding your dog for.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, well, it also could be if you're doing it regardless of, like, if your dog is just walking ahead of you and you go in and get a treat out of the pouch and it makes a clicking noise, that could be snapping noise, that could be a cue for your dog to turn back to you. That's going to be easy to teach because your dog's going to be like, oh, every time I hear that noise, she ends up giving me a treat. So, that could become the cue.
Absolutely.
That's really cool. So one thing I love about the home trail hip pack. Wait, why is it called the home trail? Is it because you're using it at home and on the trail? I don't understand the name, but
Yeah. So the naming It happens in marketing, so it's not quite. I'm not quite up and up on all of that information.
Yeah.
I think that the concept was it's like your the trails like around your home. So like it's kind of your go-to trails or like your frequented trails. And I can think of like two trails that Bernie and I walk on like
And those are
twice
your
a
home
week.
trails. Maybe I'm just too much of a like New York City person to be to think of the idea of like a home trail, because I'm gonna wear this in New York City. So one thing I love about it though is the color scheme, which is it's like really cute and really unusual. It's well, there's the blue one, but the one that I found to be the more popular one is navy, teal, and burgundy. Would you say, and
Yep,
black? Would you say those are the correct colors
yep,
names?
yep. And uh-huh.
And did you? So was this your? Was this your creation? And how did you come up with this cool color scheme?
Yeah, yeah. So that one's my favorite as well. That's the color scheme that is my choice to wear around. And we really, with that color scheme, we really wanted to show our customer base that like this is a fun product. This is something like you and your dog are going to have a great time wearing this thing. It's going to be comfortable and it's going to energize you. And we really wanted to bring that energy and that vibrancy into the color scheme. And at the same time, we wanted it to be sort of like anyone could pick it up. So it's not like it's hot pink or any super polarizing color in there, but it's really vibrant and very unique looking. And so finding that balance of uniqueness and energy without leaving our customers behind. And with a lot of the trend research we do look at the outdoor industry heavily, and those colors juxtaposed comes up often with a number of inspirational outdoor brands. And so that was also in our thought process as we're making those selections.
Oh, so there are other products by other companies that you thought would look good with this?
Well, yeah. So like the burgundy, teal, navy sort of juxtaposition. There are jackets in the outdoor industry that use those stylings. And this goes back to that REI question. So we try to look at some of the other brands that REI carries and think about if our customer is shopping at REI, they might be purchasing a jacket or a backpack from REI for themselves. And if we're designing these products, we want them to flow seamlessly into the life of that customer. And so pulling inspiration from those products that might already be in someone's closet, that definitely goes into the thought process for color selection.
Huh, so interesting. Were you also involved in the new River Canyon color scheme, which is kind of like a limited edition? Well, it's a limited edition collection of these products that are. It's also kind of cool. It's like a rust, mustard, and navy, I guess.
Yep. We just launched those, and that was a color scheme that I came up with as well.
Some people were saying I think on the Facebook group that it looks very 80s. Was that an inspiration?
Actually, the inspiration, it goes back to the outdoor industry, and we wanted to do it as a limited edition to kind of see what's resonating with our customers. We're seeing these trends in the outdoor industry, but we don't want to venture so far that we lose our customer base. And so this was a way for us to do more extreme color story, but in a small batch to reduce the risk and see how it resonates with our customers. When you see the products in person, they're a little more muted than what I would consider to be 80s. Like it's not that super high vibrancy, high saturation in the colors themselves. But I could definitely pick up on that like 80s vibe, especially with like the mustardy and the orange, the brick sort of red orange tone in there. Those definitely feel very 80s to me.
Yeah, it's funny because I mean, people think of, I mean, I feel like I think of the 80s more of like neon colors, not these
Yeah.
like neon pink and turquoise. Um, it doesn't, I guess, well, this is turquoise, I guess, but I think of it as more of bright colors. And these are like these actually sort of very muted colors that are unexpected and really, really nice together. So what other
Cool.
products have you worked on for Ruffwear?
Let's think. So, the designers, in addition to doing new designs, so like the home trail hip pack, the treat trader, the stash bag, those would have been considered new designs when they were launched. We also do redesigns of our products. So, apparel, harnesses that are currently in the market, when they get updated, the designers basically looking at the product, reading customer reviews, and trying to figure out how we can improve it to better meet the needs of our users. And so a lot of what we do is just improving on the products that we already have available. Um, yeah, so some other things that I've recently worked on. There have been some prints that we've launched in our fleece climate changer jacket. Um, those were That's art that I created, and that we applied to the fleece to sort of reach our customers with those color stories. And at the same time, when we wanted to explore that new color application, um, I had also been working on developing a fleece pullover. So a jacket, all of our jackets have a closure system, so buckles or a zipper. But really, the pullover was a venture to see, can we design a jacket that doesn't have any hard closures? So like no buckles, no zipper, just a stretchy fleece, and it's a technical fleece pullover jacket. And with this product, we really wanted to focus on the issue of dogs with really sensitive skin or really short coats. They on occasion can experience rubbing on their arms when they're wearing apparel. And so with the pullover, we, in addition to removing the plastic hard pieces, we also developed this brand new cap sleeve form around the dog's shoulders that kind of ergonomically wraps so that the back of the dog's armpit, when they're wearing the pullover, it's patterned in a way that helps retain some of that body heat that dogs will expel from their armpit area, while also allowing full range of motion when their legs are in a running position, so when they're sort of extended forward. And so that was a new piece of apparel that we designed. And again, that kind of, my dog, he's got a short coat and his arms will rub sometimes if we're wearing jackets for long periods. And so that definitely went back to some of my own experiences. But it was an issue that we were hearing a lot from our customers. And so we really wanted to try to address that as best we could.
One product I'm really curious about is the Ruffwear loadup harness. Have you worked at all on that?
You know, that was around before I had joined the team, but I do know a little bit about it, and how it's used and sort of the thought process around it.
Well, the reason I'm curious about it is because I think the idea of a harness for the car, like a car seatbelt, is still foreign to many people, and as a product designer, I'm wondering how you go about developing also something that needs to be so safe. And I know there's testing that's involved in the dog harnesses as well, if I'm not
Yep,
mistaken.
yep, you're correct. And with a lot of what we do at Ruffwear, we have these "we believe" statements that we sort of follow as mantras, and one of them is we believe in designing from a dog's perspective. And so when it came to the car harness, we had been getting requests from a lot of customers that they wanted us to come out with something that would keep their dogs from becoming a distraction in the cars. I think how a lot of laws sort of frame that scenario. And the way that we went about with this development was we didn't want it to feel like very restraining against the dog's body. So the harness is designed in a way that allows the dog to lay down in the back seat comfortably and sit up. So as I'm driving with my dog, he might be laying down. He might want to sit up and look out the window. This harness allows them to have that sort of motion. And in addition to allowing them to have that motion, we also we tested the harness basically in these sled test configurations that are in a lab, and they're standardized, and so they use a weighted dog form in the harness and sort of simulate a hard stop on the sled, and measure basically the distance that the hard form moves.
So do you put your dog in one of these when you're going in your car?
Well, honestly, I don't. But I will say that in certain areas it is required, and so I think if it was a requirement, I would. But my dog, he's pretty lazy, and I've never really had an issue with him exploring the front seat area of the car. He's quite big, so he just sort of lays and doesn't really move much. But it does come to the front of my mind when we go on road trips, just because we'll be in the car for a while, and safety should be a priority. But yeah, I being a little honest here, we don't really use it.
Do you have a favorite product?
Well, I've got some go-to products, and I have a favorite, and I don't know if I can say too much about it, but if folks listening are familiar with our commuter backpack that we used to have, that was my favorite backpack with my dog. And we would go rock climbing. He would obviously not be climbing, but he would be hanging out. And he would walk out there with me with the commuter pack on and hang out at the crag. And we've recently designed a new pack that'll be launching in spring summer 21 that we had to discontinue the commuter pack a while ago. And this new pack that we're launching, to me, ticks all of the boxes for those things that I liked in the commuter pack. And so I'm really hoping that the way that this pack has solved problems for me, that it'll help solve some of those problems that our users might be facing. But yeah, that'll be a brand new product in spring summer 21.
Oh, well, that's exciting. Can't wait to see the colors.
Yeah, very fun colors.
And I'm curious, are there other brands like dog gear brands that you think are cool
Yeah,
as
there
a
are.
designer?
Yep, yep. I'm definitely intrigued by Rex specs. I don't know if you're
What
familiar.
what is it called?
They Rex specs.
Oh, Rex
REX.
Specs.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. These are
So
what are they
they
like dog goggles?
yes, they are.
Huh.
And
Okay.
yeah, I personally don't use them for my dogs, but a lot of the working dogs that we have around here who are search and rescue dogs for our mountain, they'll on occasion use Rex specs and other working dogs that we also sort of use as our research group. Um, they use them as well, and it's definitely a very interesting concept. And I think for the working dog community, it is an important piece of gear. I again like being not Bernie's a recreational dog, and he doesn't really need to use Rex specs. But for those working dogs, I think that it does make a big difference, and I think it's a pretty cool product. And as a designer, I look at them and I can see that a lot of hard work has gone into developing them, and I definitely appreciate that as well.
And they're super cool looking on a dog. They make dogs look
Yeah,
like future robot dogs or something.
totally.
Uh, cool. And any others that are worth mentioning?
um, Let me think for just a moment.
Or another question, is Ruffwear a cool company to work for? Like it seems like it is. We order from there and we're trying more and more to work with, as much as possible other sort of mission driven American small businesses. What's it like being there from the inside?
Yeah, it is. It is a cool company. It is as cool, if not cooler, than how it might look from the outside, I think. And our president and our founder, they own the company. So being privately held gives us a lot of flexibility and gives us a lot of freedom. And I have a great relationship with the founder and the president. They're two just very genuine, great, authentic human beings. And the founder, he's actually on the product team. So he is a part of every single product that we launch, in addition to having founded the company. And as hard as we all work, which is pretty hard, we all really like to have fun and cut loose. And when it's not COVID times, we would be having holiday parties and ski days where we just take the day off from work and go up to the mountain, and everybody skis or snowboards or snowshoes. And yeah, we plan these very, very big get-togethers just so the community feels tight and close and welcoming and inclusive. And yeah, those are all words that I would affiliate with Ruffwear. And it for how much time we spend at work and with our teams, it feels like a second family. And I feel lucky to have raised my dog with the Ruffwear family because it's like his community, and it's like the village that I needed to help me raise my dog. And so I'm very appreciative towards Ruffwear for what they've given me and for what they've given my dog.
Are there any specific dog perks that come with working there?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. Being able to bring your dog into work, that's a huge plus. You can bring your dog in when you're not a product designer as well. So you don't need to have your dog to help you with your work in order to bring them. And you could bring up to 2 dogs. Some of our employees have 4, sometimes more than 4 dogs in their ownership. And you can bring up to 2 with you into the office. We have a private dog park running sort of area that's got some logs and some rocks, boulders that like you can use as a sort of agility course for your dog if you wanted to just sort of run them around for a little bit. And I would say the products too. Like if you're in the building and I've got some prototypes that I would like to put in people's hands, I'll just run around the building usually and see who's going out on the weekend with their dog, and do they want to take a backpack or do they want to take a harness or a toy. And I think that's a big perk because you get to, everyone is a part of the process, and you've got great gear at your disposal.
How has this COVID period affected the designs that you guys are coming up with? Or
yeah, that's a great well, what's funny is it's a conversation we have a lot, sort of what is the future? Where do we go? And what's interesting is one thing that sort of stayed even with COVID is the desire to be outside and the companionship that dogs provide us, especially in our outdoor pursuits. And so really just being authentic to our brand and being more inclusive. We're working hard to try to reach a wider audience and make our products more accessible to people, because we really value the relationship and the well-being our dogs provide us when we're out with them, and how good that feels. And we really just want everyone to have those experiences. And so I think it's made us more thoughtful and more introspective. But in terms of the products themselves, they're really just, they're staying true to the brand.
Cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk. I think people will find this really interesting. If they want to follow you, do you have a social media place where people can keep in touch with you?
Yeah. So you could find me on Instagram. I'm at Liz_Zarro, Zarro. And my dog doesn't have an Instagram, but he has a hashtag. He's hashtag Bernie the Mutt. And you just wanted to look at pictures of my dog. I think you can follow hashtags now, so you can follow that hashtag and see a smiling face out there.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Annie. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
You can find over 50 Ruffwear products at storeforthedogs.com. And through the end of the day, Monday, that's November 30th, podcast listeners can access a very special discount, 25% off all Ruffwear products in our online shop using the code Ruffwear25. If you like this podcast, shopping in our online store is a great way to show your support. Thanks. Happy holidays. Thanks so much for listening. You can support School for the Dogs podcast by subscribing, leaving a 5-star review, telling your friends, and shopping in our online store. Learn more about School for the Dogs and sign up for lots of free training resources on our website, schoolforthedogs.com.